an article about the tragedy that implies Jane could have been responsible. At that moment, Jane gets a call from Liam because they were supposed to have an appointment today. Liam's proud to hear she's working on her memories, but he also swears he's at his office, which contradicts the fact Jane can now see him in the store. After they hang up, Jane follows Liam out of the building and into the hay bale maze, where she gets lost and begins getting desperate with anxiety. In the end, she gives up and leaves the maze by breaking one of its walls. Then Jane rushes back to her car, where she finds another little box waiting for her. At first she tries to ignore it, but curiosity gets the better of her and makes her open it anyway. Inside the box, Jane finds half a picture where she can see her younger self, her mother with a blurry face, and Susie, who turns out to be her sister. Later at home, Jane's sleeping is interrupted by Alice, who asks her to be quiet because they'll hear her. Confused, Jane follows Alice to Susie's room, where she sees a memory of her mother giving her sister the music box. Suddenly, her daughter says Alice isn't really there now, and the ghosts of her mother and Susie turn towards Jane, who notices Susie has a tool in her hands. Scared, Jane runs away to her old room, where she sees her younger self and finds a shaver in her hands appearing out of nowhere. Desperate and afraid, Jane returns to the main room to try to wake Alan up, but he stays asleep while Susie crawls out from the under the bed, saying Jane has come to find them. Jane runs to hide in the closet, but Susie finds her there too. After lots of struggling, Susie ends up on the floor with Jane's hands on her, and the moment Jane blinks, she finds herself in Alice's room with her hands around her daughter. Thankfully, Alice wakes up and shakes her mother out of her mind lapse before sending her back to her own room, where Jane doesn't see Susie anymore but does find a jack on the floor. The next day, Jane goes to see Patrick to demand answers. Patrick explains his brother had been a drunk with a bit of a temper, but he worked hard and never hurt his family, and unfortunately, the only person that knows what happened the day of the tragedy is Jane herself. Later during breakfast, Alice notices Jane is tired and says she's sorry Susie kept her up last night, but before Jane can ask her what she means, Alan comes over and Jane asks him to take Alice to the lake. She thinks the house is making her feel worse.